Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Bread for Soul Convos with myself, Sir LSG. This is a show where we just basically share all knowledge and experiences that we know from different artists, different DJs, different producers, just for anyone really who's interested in the music industry, just to better navigate um, this very, I think, difficult industry, but also it's very interesting because I've seen that there isn't one way of doing things. Like if you into the music, if you really want to get ahead, you need to find ways that work for you. Like you can learn from as many different people as possible, but it's very important to always find something and ways that will work for you. Do your things your way. And I know today I've got somebody who I know very well does things their way. He's found a way to create his own brand, really grow his own brand while working with the guys at Golden Boys with their massive podcast Ashmet Hour. And we'll talk more about a lot of things, including fashion, including music. Welcome to the show, bro. Oscar, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, bro. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. I never know whether I should say Oscar Mbo or Oscar MBO because I've heard you say it twice. What is
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
no, like either works. Like either works. I just like saying it MPO, but for no reason really. It's just Mbo because the Mbo is shortened from my first name.
Yeah.
But either works. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, what's your first name? I'm guessing Mbongin.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, Tara.
Bongian is my first name.
Hola,
Sure,
hola.
bro.
No, man, thank you. It's good to be chatting to you. A lot of people were saying to me, man, it's about time that you host
Yeah,
Oscar on the show. Because I think what you've done as well, like with growing your brand and growing yourself as a brand to a point where,
yeah,
like you even got to start creating music and releasing music last year, and
yeah,
so
yeah,
we'll get more into all of those things. But I just want to start first
yeah.
um, with your story, like where it really begins, like what are some of your earliest memories, specifically with regards to house music?
Yeah. Um. Uh, we all definitely have a story to share. But my story goes back to just a decade ago, 2009, 2010. That's where it really started shaping up in terms of me following this path. Um, uh, I've loved music basically, not even house, like music from a very young age. I'm from a very musical family. My parents love music, my siblings too. But for house music, definitely the year 2010 when I moved from home to Tshwane, to further my studies after matric. That's when I got to connect with the music or the industry rather more because that's when I started going to Hot 22 more often. After been hearing about it from my older friends who left home earlier, and there it really like light up that's where I started dreaming more and wanted to achieve and wanted to see myself from that lineup. Wanted to see myself sharing the stage with those artists and all those big names. And basically every Thursday, Friday, Saturday we had 102. So moving to the city really instilled more love for me on basically house music. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you say home, where is home?
Home is in Mpumalanga in Grill.
Oh yeah.
Grill. It's a small town near Witbank and Secunda. It's just in the middle.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
before you had moved like to Pretoria, um,
yeah,
where did you have any experience of DJing or even DJs like from your Kasi, like were there already guys
yeah.
playing by then?
Yeah, definitely. That's how I actually learned to play because I used to always go to the spot where my friends used to play and stuff like that. Until one day some guy came through and said, "Yo, you really love music and the stuff that you give us or that you listen to like whenever we're around you is quite dope. So why don't you try and play?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't think it's for me, man. I just love attending, hanging out and all the stuff." And then basically on one day, I remember just after my matric exams, we started, and then I was like, "Okay, let me try this thing." Ah man, literally a week later, I was playing for people already,
Yeah.
which was like crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And then from there on, the following year, that's when I just got my own equipment, and then obviously bedroom every day, you know, and then moved to varsity. It was my hobby, definitely every day, from school, whenever I had free time, you know. So yeah, that's how it just flew up.
Yeah, you know, like when you talk about varsity, bro, like because my experience with varsity, um, the way the music got a hold of me, like it was quite bad to an extent where, um, each and every chance that we had, actually each and every break, whether it's the weekend, so from Friday up through to
Yeah,
Monday morning, we would just be playing, in the room, and at that time we
yeah,
probably had like 4 to 8 vinyl, and we would all share the vinyl, like one after
yeah,
the other. And I
yeah.
can imagine that was a big reason for me failing in school. So I have to ask you, what were you studying, and did you actually finish?
Yeah, I was doing occupational health and safety. I didn't finish in record time. I didn't, but I did eventually. Um, uh, the biggest thing was that I was too much into this whole thing. You know, I was too invested in it, and that's when I also started to spend time with people that I knew. Because I'm from a very small town, and everyone is from the other bigger places, and then I knew them because I used to drive to events, bro, literally every weekend, where Ezra and some guys from about DJ Light, DJ Whiskey, there's a dope guy called Flex as well. Say, they should do like proper events in Wheatbank every Friday or Saturday or after exams. I just don't remember properly. And I'd basically risk it all, man. Take a car anything and go attend events. So that time we developed some sort of friendship, you know, that they used to like recognize me. And then when we got to varsity, literally, these guys we were like we knew one another from way back, you
Yeah,
know. So now when we move in there, and then now I'm here with the equipment, and then now we always hanging out at my place, you know, the PlayStation, there's music here. We would jam until the AMs. Literally every day from Thursday, we do the racing thing because and now to a point that it got to affect me in terms of my studies. And I saw it coming, you know, and
yeah,
then I told myself, you know what, at some point I wanted to just drop the whole thing and just do the whole because now you know at that point as well there was especially from my second third year there was an issue that now I'm starting to get a little bit of recognition, and then there's now gigs coming in, you know,
yeah,
and there's like more activity, and I see myself so much invested in this more than me going to school, and you know,
yeah.
so it really did play a role on me in school. I don't want to lie about that, but eventually I was able to complete. Although I still want to do my BTech, you know,
Yeah.
when yeah, when there's time. Yeah,
I want to ask you about that then, because like, for somebody who's, saw a dream, and the music is working now, like, like you are one of the most recognized DJs, especially in our scene, and you
yeah,
continue to put in work, to grow yourself. why
yeah.
why then would it be so important to for you to still go back and finish your or do your BTech?
Um, actually, it's something that I recognized from the beginning. You know, when I was studying in this thing, I just saw that there's no stability in what we do, unfortunately.
Mm,
And the lifespan of a DJ, artist, and musician is quite short, shorter than a footballer's lifespan in terms of you getting the shine and making a living directly on this thing. You know,
mm,
so I've always wanted to have something to fall back on. That's how I actually started. You know, and then mid my studies, I was like, you know what, let me finish this thing, even though I won't be able to use it or I want to pursue something else. At least I do have some sort of proper foundation I have for myself. And the goal was always being able to do multiple stuff just to be able to fund my dream, my passion, and it's been working for me. You know, I know most of what I make from music goes back into my career.
mm,
It always. I've never enjoyed, for instance, revenue from shows. You know, I've never. Maybe probably what I use for myself is more like 30%. But I always try to invest it back into it because I know by me doing that, I'm able to grow that way. Unlike say I'm gonna wait for an opportunity or for someone to come and assist me or for someone to recognize me and lift me up. So I've always been a person who just takes back what I get to the industry back like into it, you know.
Man, that's such an important thing that you're noting, because now I'm very interested, because I want to know
Yeah,
what exactly, when you mean, like, if you could also give somebody an advice, doing, like, showing them what you do with regards to the finances for that are
yeah,
coming from your music, from your gigs, your performances, and what else you're getting money
yeah,
from. How, what do you mean exactly by investing back into the art? Like, what is that? What are you spending that money on, exactly? If you could
yeah.
explain, yeah.
For instance, you know that for an artist who's doing house music, it's for our type of music, which is labeled underground. You know, although I don't like that term at all. It's not you. We don't make so much money to a point that we can do a year plan on saying, okay, cool, I'm gonna have so much finances and stuff like that. So, and then also for the dreams that we want for ourselves, like for the level that we want, because I know a lot of us in the artistry share the same goal: is to make a difference, is to look firm and to inspire the young ones. You know, basically make a change. There's been so much that has been done in the industry, like from the older guys, you know, your China's, your Vinny's, your Chris, the they've done so much, you know. And me in my head, although it's something I wouldn't be able to speak with everyone I know, but I know that we all want to take like move on the legacy, you know, and that requires you to be a strong figure. In terms of that, I mean, you need a lot of stuff in terms of artistry. For instance, equipment, you know,
Mm,
the traveling to shows, the marketing, the merchandising, you know, the music. I
mm,
don't even want to talk about, you know, for us who don't have the bigger studios, hiring studios out, you know,
mm,
paying for engineering, you know what I mean,
mm,
and getting basically your own equipment for your tiny studio, whether you're a small or big. That's all money, bro. And
mm,
these things do not come cheap at all, you know.
mm,
And my point is, if you take from what you make and then you expect a miracle or someone to say, okay, or Oskido says, okay, DJU is giving out stuff again, then it means you might not even get those things like for yourself. You know, so for me, it's all about I have a list of stuff that I want to do for myself or I want to achieve in a year, and then I do, and I know that all of them, not even most, all of them need money. You
mm,
know, so what I make from that, I always try to sort it out like that, and also um I'm running my own basically label. I'm running my own office. You know, I've got
mm.
a team of photographers, videographers, person doing the admin, people like managing the website. You know, people who are doing the merchandising. You know, so all these things need a cash flow to actually operate. Otherwise, you're just gonna be like someone who's just adding numbers. You know?
Yeah, man, and it's such an important thing, bro. Like, that we hardly speak about, because people don't actually
Yeah,
understand the amount of money that has to go into your own career if you really want to
yeah,
um, work with a lot of musicians, if you want to get the marketing right, the PR, if you want to have, like, the image as well, like, because that's also a part of it, like,
true,
which we'll get to talk
true.
about a bit later. And
Yeah,
it's almost like, it's not that you're gonna get X amount of money at a gig and that money is
yes.
just going to chow, like, it doesn't work like that. So
Doesn't work like that,
yeah,
bro.
man, yeah. And it's important, I think, for artists to also know that, um, what as much as you putting that money into yourself as an artist, the returns might not be immediate. Like, the returns might
Yes,
not even be like monetary returns. Like, you might not get, if I spent, I think, over, like, close to 400K, like, doing the previous
yeah,
album. And when
yeah,
I think about it, obviously not at all one go, but like in bits and pieces, it's a chunk of
true,
money.
yes,
But
yes,
you never get that money back in terms of sales.
never,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? It's just an investment in terms of yourself as an artist, your positioning. Like, once that project is done, where does that project take you, and what else can you do
yeah,
from there. And I think that's
yeah,
another important thing, that like you get to spend money, but in the beginning it's very difficult for you to see the money coming back, so to say.
yeah, yeah,
I want to talk about the podcast that you guys do,
yeah,
Ashmet Hour.
yeah.
You mentioned Ezra earlier, so I'm guessing you guys all grew or come from the same town.
Yeah. Ezra and Lou come from Wheatbank.
Okay.
That's like all the guys that I'm telling you that I met like during those days. And
Yeah.
then when we got to Pretoria, we basically like a family of people. So we basically from we can't say same hometown because it's just nearby, 30 minutes apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And
Yeah,
I
30
mean,
minutes apart.
how long has the podcast been going on for?
I formed the podcast 2010 February. That's when I was doing a lot of mixtapes of my own. I'm like, no, let me just try and get them to the people.
Mm.
I got a friend who showed me the platform Podomatic, and basically I had to come up with the name, the format, and how much I want to drop, and all those things. And also there was a great excitement for me at that time because I just learned like buying music digitally.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very exciting. I remember I was still using my sister's credit card at the time, and I used to mold it, bro. Like, I used to go crazy. Like all the stores, Beeports, some stores have closed down, unfortunately. Track stores, and there's the one from here in South Africa. I just forgot the name. It was
Aphrodisia.
African, bro.
Aphrodisia.
Yeah,
Aphrodisia.
Aphrodisia,
Yeah.
MP3. Yeah, Aphrodisia MP3. So I had so much music, and every time I was like playing, playing. Like, no, but then why didn't want to use this stuff? Because at the time, also, I didn't have so much gigs to play the music at.
Mm.
So I'm like, you know what? Let me just do this thing of a podcast. Like the way I was so excited, I used to drop 2 mixes every week. Every week I used to drop.
Yeah.
It was, and then like on the fourth week, I saw the hype was a bit average, not how I started. The people were like, yo, this is dope, this is dope. But now I also said, no, no, no. Maybe I'm putting too much music for the people who won't be able to enjoy it as much. Let me just try and do it bi-weekly. So like
Yeah.
twice a month, and then it moved to that twice a month. So I ran about 30 or 28 episodes by myself,
Mm.
uh, episode 1 to episode 28. But that time, from episode 20 something, Ezra and Lou were doing guest mixes, because we were close and we used to record at my place and hang out. Like, no, guys, come through. Let's try this thing. Get all the guys that I knew from then to drop guest mixes. So for the first period, I was doing it by myself. Then from the 11th or 12th episode, I just got one mix as a guest mix, and then so forth and so forth. And then one day we just hang out, like, yo, guys, why don't you join the podcast?
Mm.
Come through, because we are different in terms of our tracks, like styles and selections. So you come with your elements, I come with mine, Luke come with his.
Mm.
But the trick is that we love similar music, so let's explore all genres, and then upon each and every release, we just shift.
Mm.
So we're gonna strictly do a local mix, which is strictly sounds produced in SA,
Mm.
and then there's a mix we call main mix, where like it's intentional stuff. Sometimes it's fused with local, but we try to keep it intentional stuff.
Mm.
And then there's a special mix, which is a mix that contains down tempo music, chill out, neo soul,
Mm.
lounge. And then we get two guest mixes on each and every episode. And then it was a great idea, it was a great idea because from there on the podcast just grew like crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It grew like crazy, yeah, it grew. So that's how we actually got to get the swing of the whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, right now there's a lot of podcasts, bro. There's a
yeah,
lot of podcasts. It's just I think the nature of the game, I guess. But I want to ask
yeah,
you specifically with regards to podcasting. Um,
yeah.
what are some of the things that you've seen happening for you that came as a result of the podcast?
Um, Podcasting basically made me who I am. Um, Although I was getting my name known where I'm from in neighboring places, moving to the city and being a podcaster and gelling, with the music and being able to deliver consistently. it grew me as an artist. It opened too many channels for me. Like for me to do events. Like for me to do to gig. Nationwide. Because I gigged a lot, bro, without having anything else more than podcasting. That's where people got to connect with who this guy or who are these guys in the music. And basically, podcasting really made the Oscar guy, the Oscar Moore guy, if I can put it in that way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
because that the way it grew in a manner that it was a thing, bro. It was a thing. Even many people that I see today who are doing different stuff, different professions, like a doctor, for instance, would tell me, "Yo, I used to jam to stuff in varsity."
yeah,
And then I'm like, wow, like that's crazy. Like professional soccer players too, and like yo, and then people like in school, like the young kids in school, you find that they're jamming, and there's a way that it gets to you. Taxi drivers in the hood, they're playing the stuff, and people recognize all these things through voiceovers. Like yo, this is blah blah blah. So like when you get to gigs and people are like yo, this is Oscar MBO, everybody listen to Ash Meadow, So it was such a crazy but beautiful feeling because there was recognition. And what we decided to do at that time was to actually, based on what we see, whether what guys, this thing is working, let's just grow with it. Let's just penetrate the industry and try to add our own flavor and just to bring a new element to
yeah, yeah. And I
there.
think you guys are running probably one of the longest running podcasts, that we have in the country,
Yeah,
to a point where
yeah,
you even moved the podcast towards being an event, like, because when I did a guest
true.
mix for you guys, it was an invitation. I came to a gig, but you were recording the
Yeah,
thing live, and it's such a dope thing, like how much podcasting can do for a DJ, especially back in the days when there weren't
yeah,
so many podcasts. But like now that there's a lot of podcasts, bro, I wanna ask you, would you still advise a new person, a new DJ coming into the game, to do their own podcast?
yeah. I would, because as much as it seems like there's a lot of podcasts and it's like it's too crowded now. Um, everyone, I keep telling people that everyone has got an audience, whether you look at it in which way. People need to believe that, especially if you are working hard, you do have an audience. And for you to connect like with the audience, it can't be full time on shows because not everyone can afford going out or can be where you gig. So somehow the mixes or the live streams or whatever that you do, they do connect you to like particular people that actually need your artistry. So I would recommend how they do it, how often they do it. That's on their own. I mean, everyone's got their own formula. You have your own formula for your own show.
Yeah.
So do we. But that piece of connection is special because I know how much it means to people to actually jam onto tapes. Because it used to do a big difference in my life too. Like before I did podcasting, I still have the mixes I have from that time, from all the big shows, from
Yeah.
Jimster Show. Jimster had a big podcast
Yeah.
back then. Jimster and Lars.
Lars.
Those
Yeah.
were the two biggest shows, and we were all like all those. Although like there were more others, but those shows really inspired a lot of us. And I used to enjoy the idea of getting the music I like in one BPM and in one format. To this day, bro, that's mostly how I really enjoy my music. Even if I just buy music, I just set up my stuff, like record a mix and play the mix like when I'm driving. Like that's how I get to actually enjoy my music or listen to my music and prepare myself for shows. And so now seeing that I enjoy it, I can take it now for someone else who you can come through like, as a friend. I can give you a folder of music, and or I can give you mixtapes. But I bet you now you are gonna enjoy the mixes more because
Yeah.
it's like one flowing thing. So
Yeah.
I would advise people to actually do it. It's more of marketing for you, what you can do, what you possess, your own selection, what you can do at a show. It's like a free CV. So I would really advise people to do it. It's such a, a, a huge element. Let's
Yeah.
name it.
Bruh, like
Yeah.
and I can attest to that because I'm the same. as much as I'm a producer, like, and I've been releasing music, since 2008, but because I take
Yeah,
a lot of long breaks as well, but I'm first a DJ, like, so I
mm,
find myself doing these podcasts once a month. That's how I started this Bread for Soul sessions, the
yeah,
podcast, like once a month. Firstly, also, what another thing that it does for you is that when I get to gigs, people are not shocked when I'm playing soulful music. Like, people know exactly
yeah,
what to
yeah,
expect
yeah.
because they they
Basically,
they know, they've been following you from the podcast. Now you're at a gig, and
true.
actually I find that people get pissed if I don't play a lot of soulful stuff. They're like, man,
Thank you.
I came
Yeah,
here because I've been listening to your podcast, but now you're playing this thing,
yes,
something like that.
yeah,
um
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel you.
yeah, bro. So
Because it also, sorry to catch you, man.
yeah,
It also gives courage to other spinners to actually play what they love if they see you doing it and it's pushing. You're able to do it like with no fear or favor. That's how I got to learn so many DJs like without seeing them at live shows. Like
yeah,
listen to a Tabo Palazzo mixtape. Like, wow, this whole man really jams.
yeah,
And it's so inspiring. Now I want to meet him. Now I want to go to his shows.
yeah,
Or even if when you want to do a consultation for a show, like we're doing an event. Okay, guys, what are we getting? Okay, I'm recommending so and so, but I don't know so and so. Okay, cool. Let's look up his mixtapes and let's just listen.
yeah,
And then we can take it. So my point is, it's a free CV. We can do that by ourselves. Then you're gonna see bookings coming through because like people have an idea of what you can do now.
mm, mm.
So I recommend it a lot.
Definitely, man. I do the same too, and I think it's just a matter of finding your own way, your own style, and being
Yeah,
patient as
yeah,
well. Be patient enough, because
yeah.
even though there are a lot of podcasts, I guarantee you, bro, like in 3 years to come, most of those podcasts would have stopped because some people don't actually have um the longevity in them. Like, some people want to
True,
see the
true.
podcast grow in the first year. It doesn't work like that, like, as well as,
Doesn't it?
even if
It
you
takes
have
time, bro.
you could get guest mixes, bro. Like, you could get the biggest players, but if your podcast is not ongoing for some time, you will struggle to
Yeah,
build like a solid following, a steady following for the
true.
podcast. So that's another advice I would give to people. I think we'll get back to the music. Ne? I want us to
All right.
just to get
Yeah.
back to get into to fashion, because
Oh,
clearly this is something. If we had awards, ne, and in the awards they were like the best dressed DJs and artists,
wow.
I think you would be winning almost every year. Let me
Thanks,
ask you this. Let me
thanks,
ask you this,
bro.
ne?
Yeah.
um, who are uh, who are some of the other DJs besides yourself who you feel like, yeah, but the money what it lap, but like they actually like level up when it comes to dressing up?
Ah, man, there's a lot of DJs. Like, do you know what, how I look at it, bro? I don't look at it in a sense of basically fashion, because that's broad. Um, the first and foremost is neatness. Like neatness over me, it just because I can basically tell you about someone that you won't even think that I'm gonna mention, but I'm gonna give you an idea now. For instance, Julian Gomez,
Yeah,
you understand? He's
yeah,
got his own style. He's got this funky style where he's doing nice fitted clothes with three-quarter pants and nice, beautiful sneakers, all-star Commodus gargles, whatever the case may be. And he's got this style of having a hat and having, and it's a neat look. There's a shirt beneath, there's a jacket. It's very beautiful. Then you go to someone like Bubbles, who's got his own style as well. But you won't be able to say, where's Bubbles, like when you're looking for him in the room. You want to be to spot him whether he's looking that way. You understand? And then we go into like DJ Picat, who's always got his, you know what I mean,
yeah,
clean, sorted. People have got their own styles. Even Vin is always neat.
yeah,
There's Malankane who's doing it denim all the way, who's got proper style. There's Migs who does leather jackets with shoes that are shining all the time. Very neat. There's China who does baggy t-shirts, which got a look for him,
yeah,
and it just gives him presence, So it's basically your own style. I can list all the DJs, man,
yeah,
but it's so beautiful to see when someone has got something for himself and then it looks neat and it's very nice to actually witness.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Man, I love the way you just explained that, because it's such a dope way also of thinking about it, because um I think we need to get to a point where we actually realize that we are all different. Whether it's a music
yeah,
taste or it's how you wanna look. I think also another important thing is just a matter of being comfortable with the way you look,
yeah,
being
yeah,
comfortable. But like when I asked, I had Nomuzi Musli on the show the other time, and I
yeah,
asked her
yeah.
like, why is it so important to have a brand? And I'm actually interested to have to understand your idea of the
Yeah.
importance of looking that neat specifically for you, for your own brand. Why have you
Mm-hmm.
managed to, or how have you managed to actually even maintain it?
Well, it's just basically an idea that I had for myself, even way before the music was involved. I've always liked I feel good like when I look good. That's just me. And I don't need an occasion for that. So and I've seen that it adds a particular element that involves even my presence, like when I get to do the presentations, when I get to meet people that new that I want to work with, And it's got this thing that okay, he's sellable, That's a very big like big thing for me. You can be a brand as much as you want, but if what you possess is not sellable, it's more like nothing.
Mm.
So and then for me, neatness, looking good is something that's top two and definitely not number two. It's really up there. So it works for the type of brand that I push for this Oscar guy. It works for me also because if I'm comfortable, if I'm happy, it means I'm gonna be able to do whatever I want to do in the best way how. So it works wonders for me. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like I definitely agree with the sentiment. The way I was trying to look to remind myself the way Mosley explained it, and she said she actually asked me a question. If you were going to a restaurant, right, and you get there,
Yeah.
and you see the food like on the one side, it's nicely packed, like the food really looks neat, everything is kind of like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
colorful, like you can see it's
Yeah.
nicely cooked. And then right next to you, next to that restaurant, there's another restaurant, and you just walk in there, the food is a mess, everything is just everywhere, like
True.
the thing is
Yeah.
burnt and stuff like that. Where are you going to eat? And chances are
Yeah.
you'll probably eat at the niche place, right? And that's, I think,
Definitely.
another way of looking at it. And I think I mean uh, another thing is that we stop, we don't, sometimes people don't really understand that you could be looking very decent on a 500 rands look, you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
type of thing,
yeah,
or what you
true.
spend. And you
Yeah,
can do the same on a 20,000 rand or even more type of look,
yeah,
and you can look bad in both. You can look terribly bad wearing expensive clothes, or you can look terribly
true,
bad, obviously, wearing very cheap
true.
clothes. So I think it's
Yeah.
important, like, for you to find what works for you. But I have to ask you: is this something that you always had even before you became a DJ and producer?
Yes, yes. It's something that was instilled from me at home. I think I got it from my mom the most. My mom and my grandpa, they always wanted us to be neat all the time. Whether it's like maybe you got like it's a holiday at school, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's time for me to just hang out with my old clothes, which is just like, no, but I need you to go to get bread or go to the store. And I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. Like, no, 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 please look presentable all
Yeah.
the time from a young age. And by being presentable, I'm not saying I'm gonna now. No, just look neat.
Mm.
Whether you're wearing whatever, your color coordination must be basic, but it must look good. If you wanna wear a blue denim, wear a white top and wear white sneakers, whatever the case may be. But I learned that from home, and it really stuck with me. They've always maintained whether you're wearing a t-shirt, whether you always have a vest beneath. It's like, for instance, I'm just making an example of what I learned. Wear vests all the time so that whenever you bend, your underwear doesn't get revealed. It's a basic thing, but from there, I got it. Like, you know what? I'm never not wearing the vest, for
Yeah.
instance, and it goes with neatness too. So it's something that was really instilled from home, like doing the basic stuff, but do them proper.
Yeah.
So do them proper. Like get loungewear, even if you are home, be comfortable, like look good. Should anything happen, God forbid, but you are looking like nice. So for me, it's more about comfortability and sense of feeling good, and then come like presentation. So even if like when I look at an item, no matter how beautiful or how it look or how good it looks, for me it's about whether I'm gonna be comfortable in it and I can spend the whole day on it. And then the following part comes to of me liking it, me, matching this with whatever. But like comfortability and then presentation first, yeah.
Yeah, my mom used to ask me, used to say that if you need, if we need to take you to the hospital and there's an emergency, and your nails are not cut, it's a problem. She doesn't want that bad look
Yeah,
from the
that's my
nurses.
point exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my point. Like when it comes to those things, like my mom used to joke about that as well. Like, let's say we have an explosion here, and then now we need to run out. How you gonna look? Think about that too. We used to laugh about that all the time, but she had a point.
yeah,
Like she had a point. I cannot be going out the house with broken ball or whatever the case may be.
yeah,
Like something like, for instance, if my mom saw that something is getting old, she should get rid of it without even consulting like with me. Like, don't deprive yourself. And like she tell me every 3 months, new underwear. Every 3 months. For
yeah,
instance,
yeah,
new socks. Get rid of these things. Well, they are still looking good, but I'm telling you now, So it's a thing that I've also learned. I also
yeah,
learned,
yeah,
and it's how I've even saw the longevity of clothes, how they last, the quality. You're able now to see, okay, sharp, laptop, and so on. The stress is so far and so on. And because you also wear all these items, whether they're expensive or cheap, but you're able to detect, okay, longevity after washing, how does it look? Blah, 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 the quality. So it's all about learning. I'm still learning every day, like when it comes to clothes. And it's such an interesting thing for me. I really love fashion.
yeah. But okay, yeah. No, I hear that, man. And we've touched on, that people can look good on an average budget, but you obviously then also go overboard. You get on, with the rather expensive brands. You know what I mean? Like, and it's so dope to see like somebody do that, because like for me, I've gotten tired of us house people not being taken seriously by the media, if I may put it like that, because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you don't need to, like, I have to say this again, guys. You don't need to be spending something if you if
yeah,
it's not for you, it's not for you. If it's for you, it's for you. But I want to ask you, bro,
yeah.
like, on average then, how much does it really cost you
Yo,
to keep up with your
yo.
high fashion standards?
Um, uh, but I don't like to talk numbers, because it's gonna create some sort of
Okay,
buzz,
I hear you.
or perspective about me,
I hear
But what
you.
I can say is that me working with brands has also weighed off the lift, like I mean the weight like off my shoulders, me
Mm,
collaborating with Diesel,
mm,
um, because these things are very expensive, bro. I won't lie to you, especially if you want specific things.
mm,
So me like working with a brand and me be able to channel stuff and me be able to it it lifted a lot of stuff because they take care of me. So
mm,
but what I can say is that if you've got something specific that you want in the fashion industry, we all know that it's very expensive. So I work hard for those things. So that's why, like, when even I rock them, I rock them with pride because I know, like, I know how much I just read for that.
yeah,
So and it's a feel good feeling, bro, for me. I've gotten to a point as a human being that I don't depend on how people treat me for me to feel in a particular way.
yeah,
You know, I owe it up all to myself, bro. Like, I make myself feel good. It starts with me because if I'm feeling good, I can spread goodness to other people. In whatever I do, in like maybe it's time to play music, maybe it's time to make music, maybe it's time to assist. But if me and I'm feeling good and I'm smiling. Two things I don't deprive myself on: looking good and having a good meal every day, bro. That's no compromise for me.
right.
So it's all about me. You understand? My feeling is gonna be able to to speak for yourself on how I treat people, situations. It's based on how I invest in myself.
Bruh, no, I love that. I love that, brother. And now that you mentioned that, I'm just reading a comment from someone, Offense Pule on Facebook, and he says, Oscar Mbo gets a lot of social media criticism. How does the guy keep thriving through such adversities? Like, what keeps you going? Because I think, bruh, like it's so I think that you're a strong person. Like not many people
Yeah,
would be able
yeah,
to even come back on social media after somebody says some
yeah,
shit about it. Like how do you do it, and what keeps you coming back and just being yourself?
yeah. Like I'm saying, bro. Me now, I don't need um basically, can I put it like acceptance or anything? And that's why I'm thinking everything, most of the stuff that I do is based on me feeling themselves to me. And it's not easy, but it's workable that way. Like when you know that you've got your own back, and my focus is basically on me and what I want to do. And all these things which happen of criticism of whatever, these things that I expect them to happen because I'm being a very different element, and I'm trying to jump out of the whole thing of us being low people, or being average because of what we pay or of what we do. So it's me trying to also add my own flavor in what I do and try to show another person that okay, it's cool, it's working, it's dope, but how about we do it in a different way? And also I consult like with a lot of people who are strong-minded in the industry, and they always like remind me of what I'm doing or of the goals that I have, because I share ideas, I share what I want to do, and I also consult, is this cool, or can I do this, can I not do this, what do you think? So it's like I'm unbreakable, bro, if I can put it in that way, because I know my vision and I know where I'm going. So criticism and all the stuff is things that I'm expecting and worse.
Mm,
And if I'm gonna focus on that, it means uh, anyone can do anything to me, and that's gonna be the end of me. So, but
mm,
I always focus on the bigger goal, which is me I achieving so much for myself, which is gonna add an element to the game too, because someone will like from a distance like, okay, cool, he's doing it, it's doable, and then
mm,
how about I also try it, do it my way or his way? Doesn't matter as long as we just try and elevate what we do and not just keep it as if it's just a hobby or an average thing.
yeah.
We also need respect. We also need to be shapeshifters,
Mm,
visionaries. We need to be respected, and for that to happen, we need to do things differently. Like otherwise, just like another thing, which is gonna be like my team. Gonna be We won't be able to. We are not acknowledging the people who fought or who worked hard to like for the industry to be where it is. If you're just gonna be like do what they did like the
mm,
same way, it's gonna be
mm,
like what was the reason?
yeah, yeah. Nah,
So
bro.
like for me, it's always based on what I want to see myself. The other stuff for me is just it's
Yeah,
just okay, man. You can do whatever you want, but I'm unbreakable, bro.
yeah.
Definitely.
Right, and
Yeah.
with such a spirit, man, I think that only good things could come for you, bro. Like because um like you say, you expect it to happen, because as soon as you do
Yeah.
anything different, there will
Yeah.
be critics. Like you will find critics.
Yeah.
Chances are, like you might even find the worst critics the more you do greater things. I mean, Black Coffee, one of the
Yeah.
most respected artists worldwide, even
Yeah.
to he's getting
Yeah.
even more criticism for every little thing that he does. And it
Every
comes
day.
it comes with what you do, right? And it comes with you wanting to be in certain spaces, I guess, a certain mindset,
Yeah.
doing certain things. Like it gets negative people working. But I wanna really get, like, before, let me just close this thing. I wanna know from you, bruh. When you know you've worked um, hard for something, or and you put in money or whichever amount kind of effort that you put into anything, and somebody tries to discredit you, what's the most annoying thing about that?
I always ask myself one thing, like why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Because it doesn't make sense to me all the time. Before I even absorb it and become and Because most of the time, these things, I let them go. I won't follow up on anything like that because it won't help me with anything. What I will do, probably want to evoke my anger and not get myself doing or saying things I'm not supposed to do. And that's not me, bro. I'm always focused on what I want to do. Because for me, when someone does that, for me, it's admiration. Like that person really wishes they were me. Because it cannot be that I'm winning and my wins are beneficial for the game, you know, and the inspiration to someone who's below me or above me or close to me, someone and then discredit comes in a form of saying you must stop. You know, there's criticism which is there's negative, positive, you know,
Mm.
but there's something that you see that now it's okay, cool. This is based on a point that I'm told to rather die, basically.
Yeah.
But even if you do it, it must also show in a manner that you are correcting me or you are trying to assist. You know what I mean? Or you're trying to say, okay, cool, try a different method. You understand? And for that to happen, it's always an easy process. You can reach out to me. You can ask my number from someone. Bro, I think, which is something that has been done to me before. Something I do to other people too. Like, okay, cool, I see where you're going, but how about you try it this way? For me, that's criticism, whether it's negative or positive, but you are assisting me. And it's something that where you see like, okay, cool, that person is admiring, big love, and I hold no grudges, bro. I hold no negative energy. I know at some point with whoever who comes in that element, we are gonna have a chat one day, sit down, and I'm gonna go like, bro, you know what? It's cool, man. What did you think about this? So tell me how could
Yeah.
it happen another in the future? Because
Yeah.
that's how we can like invest back, giving the element of opening up, of assisting. It's called helping because there's no way where the industry can be run by 10 people,
Yeah.
you know. So if we are gonna be assisting, we are gonna grow this whole thing. We're just gonna be even if we don't have to like one another, bro. Just being able to work and assist and talk and just care. That's all, bro. That's all.
Bruh, I love that
Yeah.
so much, man, and all positive points from you, bruh. Um, let's get into the music then, because
Yeah.
you dropped two singles first last year, and then you dropped the
Yeah.
album Golden Power,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
firstly, because we spoke about how podcasts could help you as a DJ to get you
Yeah.
out there, may hopefully eventually get a DJ some gigs, but why
Yeah.
why why did you feel like you needed to get into production and releasing your own original music?
Bro, I was growing in a very rapid way. I even tell people that I look up to that my growth was too rapid. That's 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 how I feel about some criticism from people. Because I feel like what I feel they also feel. Also, no, no, no. This guy just came and flew. I'm not saying I'm at the top. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from how things were compared to 5 years back, 10 years back to where they are today. It was too rapid, bro. Because to see someone from a bushy town being recognized, and having an effect and having a podcast so big and working with so and so, So there's a time where I also felt like, like 10 years ago, I can continue now. I was like, I even told Ezra that, and you were like, hey, just me and music. I just want to buy the music, man, and compile and play and stuff. But then there's a time where I had to go. I remember I had this chat with June Jason. He was visiting me, with used to be around like a lot, Durban, Joburg, Durban, a lot. So like, bro, um, we're doing all this stuff and we're doing the same thing. We're doing events, we're doing podcasting, we're doing live sets, and how long are you gonna do the same thing? Where is it gonna get us? Where are we gonna get a new audience? Where are we gonna get new people saying, okay, cool, watch out for him? Because you've been doing the same thing for close to a decade. How about do we switch up? Let's learn. That was the conversation I had with June. Like, bro, let's learn. Let's learn. Let's try and tackle this thing. Let's try to collaborate as much as possible. Since we where we are and we love the music and we've got a selection, so it's gonna be not easy, but it's gonna be simple for us to be able to have a specific sound because he loves a specific sound and so do you. So it's easy for you to like when you make music to go for what you love. So it was that, and then when it was time for me, like it was a long decision to tell you the truth. It took me like a long time for me to be able to say, okay, cool. I'm doing this because it was very costly for me, learning, buying the equipment, doing course, but all those things, the things that you enjoy yourself, like, okay, cool, this is a new journey. Um, I know it might affect my podcasting, it might affect my private life, whatever. But for me to be able to grow and tap into a new market, I need to do this. And then it's a sacrifice I took, bro. And I felt it was needed for me, and yeah, I don't even regret that decision, man.
Yeah, bro. You can't, man, because I mean, like, the results are there. It's showing that it adds onto your growth. Like it's a progress.
Yeah,
And for me, I think you mentioned something very important, ne? Like the the thing about progress. Like if doesn't matter what kind of success you get to, if you get, because success, like any other thing, it's attainable, bro. Like anybody can work hard and actually
yeah,
attain whatever dreams that they want to attain. But
yeah,
as soon as you attain a certain dream, what next? Because that's progress.
true.
Because like then you wanted to play in the biggest venues in the country,
Yes, yes,
and you
yes,
achieved that. You wanted to be
yes,
playing on the same lineup as who so and so, and you achieved that.
yes,
What next? Then it always
yes,
kind of pushes us to look into other things that can actually grow us. Like how else can we
yeah.
expand in this thing that we want to do.
So,
Because a lot of the
yeah,
people,
bro.
you could get to a successful place, and you will not last there, or you will either remain in the same place years after
Yeah,
year after year, without
true.
growth. um
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Because also, there were events, where for me, bro, the come up for me, I'm still on the come up too. But for me, it was a very painful thing, because you feel this the segregation in the house music scene. You see that, okay, there's a place where this is not for you anymore, and I'd be like, no, 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 it's supposed to be an open plan. For instance, there are shows where I'm like, okay, cool. Will I ever be booked overseas if I continue being the same guy? And my answer to my head was no. Will I ever play at a Red Bull gig? Will I ever fly to Cape Town with Cat Like Cat and Julian and all these guys? Because I'm not making music. It means it cuts me out.
Mm,
Will I ever play at Rocking the Daisies? Because they need my profile and they need to go to my SoundCloud. And it
mm,
cannot be always be mixtapes, bro.
mm,
So 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 the dream is there. You can put the hard work you can do, but then there are adjustments that need to be made,
mm,
and it's gonna take a lot from you because it's uncomfortable, because
mm,
even like when you start, you're like, ish, I don't know, hey. But I feel like I'm better with this, I'm good with that, and it's choices you do for yourself, and it takes a lot from you. It's very difficult, bro. I don't lie to you,
mm,
because I know what I want to do, and I know where I want to get. There's stuff that I need to do, and it takes more sacrifices from that.
mm,
So that's when I thought, okay, cool. Now my show it needs you to like to be this person, or your profile has to be like this,
mm,
like playing on TV shows or doing radio. They're like, no, 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 okay, cool. You just another DJ? Oh, okay, cool. Okay, we'll call you.
mm,
I'm like, and that used to be painful, like to the heart,
mm,
and also this thing of trying to leave a legacy, of trying to getting on TV. It's decisions that you make for yourself,
mm,
like trying to commercialize that we do, in a sense that it's sellable,
mm,
it's worthy to look into, worthy
mm,
to be given attention, worthy to be paid,
mm,
worthy. The keyword is worthy. Are you worthy for you to charge so much?
mm,
And the answer to yourself, because even before you even take out your rates for a booking, you always consider, ish, I don't have an award. I don't have this. I don't have that. I mean, I have to get paid $500. And you're like,
mm,
no, but I worked hard. But okay, cool. What can I do to add into my worthiness for the big guys who are doing the big shows in SA to consider me?
mm,
Like
mm,
to add an effect into the industry, which is growing the industry. You
mm,
understand? So
mm.
it's all about growth for me. It's all
Yeah.
about growth. If it means that I have to go learn some engineering, for me to grow, then I'm gonna go for and back and learn that thing
Mm,
because I wanna grow. That's why I can't be the same guy and claim that I've done so much for the
mm.
industry. It's impossible.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
impossible.
right. That's
Yeah.
that's a that's a powerful thing, man. And one of the people that really inspire me, who has been really always found a way to kind of reinvent themselves, is Vinny Da Vinci. Like Vinny
Yes,
has been in the game for such a long time. You know, Vinny
yes,
could chill and just be like, "I'm Vinny, I'll get booked," and he will probably get booked. But
yes,
he doesn't just do
yes,
that, bro. Like you see Vinny mixing with a lot of different people. Like you see him,
yes,
like you said, his sense of fashion too. Like Vinny is
yes.
dressing neatly. You know, like he's
Neatly,
active.
yes,
He's active on social media. Like you're an artist, but you don't have a Twitter account. You don't have a
yes.
Facebook page. You
The
know,
basics, yes.
how? Then what are you doing? You know, like is this like 1999? It's not. You know, like
Yeah,
you need
it
to
can't be,
understand. It
bro.
can't
It
be, bruh.
adapt.
Yeah,
Yes, like it's
exactly.
brand positioning, bro. Like there's so much power in that, in knowing where you want your brand to be specifically.
Mm,
I've gotten so many things with my brand positioning, and purely by me being able to do the basics,
mm,
being able to have a social media account which are proper, which are neat, to have a nice website which is neat, informative,
mm,
and now it follows the music, Now I'm also building my own team to push more into the professionalism.
mm,
I speak to Vin a lot. I speak to so many guys who are very reputable in the game a lot.
mm,
I didn't want to name drop from the time that we spoke earlier on because when they be like, hey, I'm doing this, but I consult a lot, bro.
yeah.
And like when you get to a person like Vinny, like Praveen, I have this. Please check your emails, or can we talk? Yeah, call me after two.
Mm,
And then we talk, and then I tell them, okay, cool. No, see me on Friday. That's consultation. Share with all the guys. So and then all of that is an element adding into what you want for yourself that you see from someone else too, because
yeah,
we are living from a distance. Okay, cool.
yeah,
How does Ndala do it? Because he's consistently having shows. He's consistently now there's a TV show. Who
mm,
would have thought that you're gonna have a consistent TV show on television,
mm,
national television, like Vinny has it at his age,
mm,
on top of what he has done so much, you know what I mean?
mm,
And still he is inspiring, still he's still humble, still he's
mm,
that person that we all reference the game to, like
yeah,
most of us, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's all about that, the
mm,
keyword is growth, bro. I'm gonna keep on
yeah,
saying, yeah,
yeah, bruh. No, wonderful, wonderful. And I wanna get into, like, just as we close this off, you released two singles
yeah,
this year. The
yeah,
first one, "Good Loving," featuring Ocean Deep, and
yeah,
recently you've just dropped Moyawami. Please tell us
yeah.
about those two projects quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Good Loving was supposed to be part of my album last year. It was part of because I tune that fell off. So and then I felt like during the lockdown, because I was planning to drop it as a single around May this year. So there was lockdown and the chips were down for everyone, especially for us in our industry. And then while he was working on other stuff, I said, okay, in the meanwhile, let me drop this. It's such a beautiful track. I think I played it in Paris at the show with Shinga last year. And then people started to recognize it from there. And then I feel like it doesn't want to be good for the album because of how my album was listed. So, and then I dropped that one first in April the 10th. And then there's Umoya One, which dropped on the 7th of August on my birthday. We and then now there's a project that I'm dropping actually soon. Can't drop the date yet, still feel like fixing paperwork, but I'm done. I'm dropping a new project. And so it's been a musical journey for me, bro. It's exciting. I don't want to lie to you. Just like podcasting, when I started, I wanted to drop like music, like a lot of music. I think you also remember on Afro Deezer, you get like guys like Capo, like Brazil Africa dropping every month,
Yeah,
every week.
yeah,
There's a lot, huge influx because I understood because it's that time South African music was on a high. There was growth, there was love, there was the excitement of being. Like Capo. I think I'm a the guy had so much music out, and it has a big role on who he is today.
mm,
So also on my side, I was like, that guy, okay, cool. I want to drop. I want to. Okay, this is done. Okay, cool. Engineering, I want to drop. But now also, and then I got to consult. No, have a plan. Have a plan for your stuff. schedule these things, look professional, make it look proper, and hype up your stuff. So there's a lot, bro, on my vault. Like there's a lot that I wanna offer to the game. There's a lot I wanna do, but it's all about timing now. It's all about timing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's all
Yeah,
about timing. Doing collaborations, learning from other people. It's something I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. I'm never I'm gonna be ashamed of that.
yeah,
Learning, learning, learning. It's gonna add a beautiful element to me later in the like years. Like, okay, cool, I learned so much, and then I'm gonna be able to give back to a person who's new or someone who needs help. I'm
yeah,
always learning.
yeah. Nah, bro, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. And when you say you're about to drop a project soon, you're talking about an album, ne?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Nah, super, man. I'm,
Yes,
I'm,
sir.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. I have to ask you though one last question. Between you and Ezra,
Yeah.
Kim
Yeah.
Jaiva ni go Golden Boys, cause cause
No,
at first I was sure that the Ezra ke ne mangoba ni, but
yeah.
now ke abona ora gare Oscar wa join. Are you also getting in there?
Man, like we've been at it, bro. Like I'm saying, like the events that they used to do was mostly about partying. It was always so having that groovy vibe, dancing feel is something we know from our earliest years. Like we go out partying and stuff. So dancing is in our spirit. But Machaivane, you can even see his movements. Oh, Nyajaba blind. So he has a name that you used to call him back in the years, but I won't repeat it here. So, but Machaivane as me, I'm just a guy who's just moves who's just in the
Yeah.
space, in the space, bro.
Order. No, if it, I hear
Yeah,
you. Man, I wish that like some of the things that I really wish to see happening next year is seeing the gig that you guys used to do as Golden Boys in Kriel.
yeah,
Man, the Easter hangout.
yeah,
Yeah, bro, that used to be massive, man, and I played there once.
yeah, crazy.
Thoroughly enjoyed myself, like I played
Yeah,
a jazz song at 2 a.m. in the morning, like peak
yeah.
time.
I won't, because we love it. You know the
Yeah,
song, right?
yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I won't forget. I won't forget. Yeah, bro. Like we are gonna bounce back in that. Just that we decided to focus on different stuff as individual brands,
Yeah.
and because I always used to emphasize this the power of individuality to the guys.
Mm,
That we don't wanna we run like companies which if one person dies then it all dies off.
mm,
I've learned so much from groups, from duos that there's so much power in individualism.
mm,
I want to tell you guys, let's have our individual careers, let's do our own thing under the name Golden Boys.
yeah.
Then when we've learned, when we've got so much knowledge, and then we've accumulated so much, we want to come back, collaborate, and do more greater stuff.
Mm,
So in terms of like events, we are going to come back to that. In terms of Elder and Lou tapping into making music, that's in process.
mm,
In terms of growing the podcast into bigger stuff and new more stuff, that's all
mm.
in progress, but because it's all gonna add into the growth. So that show, I know you were our highlights. I'm telling you now. I told you back then. You came through. You dropped jazz, and then it was like crazy 2 a.m. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So we do have an audience, and we do have our goals collectively and individually. So that's never gonna stop, bro.
Sure, brother. No, no, definitely. I think also time, man. Time is so important. Like,
Yeah.
some things that can't be done now can still happen in the future. Not everything has to
Yes.
happen right now. And I think it's important for us to always have that kind of outlook to know that it doesn't
Yes.
not you don't have to have everything right now. Like,
Yes. Yes. Correct.
bit by bit, progress. And that's just
Correct.
how we all grow.
Yeah.
Bruh, I wanna say thank you firstly for joining me, but also thank you for having the kind of spirit that you have, like this kind of
Yeah.
undying spirit and working at your goals with the knowledge and belief that these things are gonna happen for you, like it's such a
Yeah.
powerful thing
Yeah.
to see for me, so I wanna thank you for that, brother.
No, thank you, my brother. Thank you for. I even told you the last time I saw you. Thank you for the show. It's things like this, like when I speak about growth and element of adding value to the game, which are really very important, bro. Because this show held us during a difficult time as artists, as DJs, as musicians, where we couldn't do nothing. But now we just open my phone, my PC, my TV. I'm seeing you speaking to the biggest people in the industry, and I'm learning from you. There's so much power in that, and we are hearing their stories, you know. So I'm thanking you for doing this. May you continue to and grow and hopefully become a permanent thing, even take it to TV or radio, because it's because we everyone has a story to share, my brother.
Mm.
So like for you to bridge the gap like that, that's very powerful for me, and I thank you for that, man. Please continue.
Bruh, thank you so much. Thank you. And I have to thank like the people that I work with too. You know, if I could
Yeah,
mention
yeah,
Doomy from Best Beats, you know, he's been like,
yeah,
I call him 2 a.m. and I need something quick, and
yeah.
you know, he quickly does that.
Biggest boss,
Yeah, yeah, and
biggest boss. Always on the job. The guy, I love him so much.
always
He's
on
always on
point,
the
man.
job.
You know, I love that
Yeah,
so much. But also my partner, Soul Diva, you know, because she does all of the graphics
yeah.
for the show, and the show
Nice.
would not look the way it looks, and the
Yeah,
feel, the flyers, the artwork that we do.
yeah,
I think it all
yeah.
everything kind of adds onto what the show is, you know, and yeah, and also, but
Okay.
most importantly, to the people who are watching, because
Yes,
bruh, it's so painful when you are. I've seen live streams and there's one person watching, you know, and I know like the effort of putting
yes,
something out and not getting the kind of support that you
yeah,
wish for. But I've been so blessed to have like many people tuning in. You know, some shows obviously you have more numbers, some shows you don't. But
yes,
what's
yes,
more important is that the content like stays online. Like you've got
yes,
the story. You could have like I had a chat with a photographer. It wasn't the most popular show, but the
yes,
content is still there. So if somebody in future wants to learn about music and photography, easily they will
yeah,
search and that thing might pop up into their timelines. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
but anyway,
yeah,
I
yeah,
just want to thank
definitely.
you first. Also, like lastly, I want to thank people who are watching. Please continue to
Yeah,
watch the platform. Tomorrow I'll be chatting to Vic Lavender from Chicago. And
yeah,
yeah, continue to watch the show. Please tag somebody in the comment section who might learn from the conversation or who might just enjoy the conversation. Please share the video too so more people can see this platform. Otherwise, let's remember to stay creative. Peace out.
brother.